And thank you for Nima. Thank you for being here, Nima.
I just started the recording.
Wonderful. Greetings, beloved poets, and welcome to Chaos Magic. We are so delighted to have you here tonight. All the other bullshit aside, love is the law, love under will, love each other in the chat, love each other in the comments that you make. No hate speech, of course. 3 to 5 minute sets. We do have a YouTube channel, by the way. It's at Chaos Magic 801. So you can review your own performances, watch and relive the glory that is Chaos Magic again. Or if you miss an event, you can come and check it out. That is pretty much all I have to say. So the list starts with MT Paridi from Long Island. He, him, himself.
Oh man, we're starting. Okay. I have a cover as requested. I'm MT Paridi. My pronouns are he, him. And I'm actually going to cover one of the co-hosts' poems from their book, A Conjuring of Dandelions. It is called I Do Not Pray to Gods. I do not pray to gods. I pray to the moon, because she makes no promises beneath her light. Yet she is always there, persisting in never-ending dark. I pray to the stars, because the battles that compose them also collapse them, and that's the only balance I've ever known. In my own, I pray to the night, urge scientific rules to bend, to justify my trust in terrifying concepts. I love, like unnatural bonds, eternal states of being and unbeing, boundlessly betraying time, like the galaxies in our eyes, the remnants of our minds. We leave behind, when flesh falls away, pound for pound of worth, all claimed by earth. Ashes to ashes, dust. I do not pray to gods. I pray to the sun. Poem. And I know that's not how Alma would read it, but that's how I would read it. And it's so good.
And that is the point of Chaos Magic. It's not how the original reader would read it. It's how you would read it. The magic you bring to the piece. Very excited to hear it. Yes.
Thank you
Great choice
so
of
much.
piece.
Thank you. That was amazing. And it was actually kind of similar to how I would read it.
All right, cool. I know that there were some parts that weren't, but we'll get there. All right, so my poem that I'm gonna read that's original is very old. It's one of my first poems that I wrote when I came back to poetry after a long hiatus. And it has to do with my connection with nature and my love for backpacking and the mountains. All right, so here goes. It's called I Looked to the Stars. I looked to the stars to learn how to live, and was shown to shine in the dark. And from burning branch, a bright star on the land, I was taught it could start with a spark. As I looked to the moon, I started to swoon, and I knew I'd be loved as I changed. And from all of the creatures with all their weird features, I knew it's okay to be strange. As I looked to the trees, I knew I should be patient with myself as I grow. And down to the roots, spread out under boots, I know we're much more than we show. The streams to me speak as they cut through valleys of the need of perseverance. And as the wind spins all the world's things, I'm suddenly moved to a dance. From faithful sun, bright day begun, I knew that my dark nights would end. But it was in the dark night, in the dimmest of light, where I first called the stars my friend. Paul.
Kick
Open
ass,
your mics
MT.
and
That was
Yeah,
open your
give it up
mics
for
and give some
MT.
love out to MT Paridi.
Yeah.
yeah, that last line was really impressive.
Bravo.
Yeah, wonderful.
You know, and
I
I
really
just,
like your work, MT.
and MT, I like your work, and I like Anna Alma's work, and I think that the wonderful thing about reading somebody else's poem is that it can become your poem in the way that you read it. So don't
That's
apologize
the
for not reading
chaos
it like
magic. That's the chaos magic
that's,
trick.
that's that everybody's poetry can be, it means something different to everyone else, especially when someone else reads it. It can strike something in people that it didn't strike when Alma read it. So, and it was such a gorgeous, incredible piece, Alma. So I can't wait. I want to read your book. We'll have to talk about doing a book barter.
Oh my God, I would love that. Thank you so much. And up next is Richard Spisak. Is that how I say it?
Spisak.
Spizak.
Spisak. And interestingly enough, I discovered only a few years back that in Slovak, it means sharp, with both connotations as sharp, keen edge and perceptive, which I thought was a nice thing. So let me read these two pieces for you. This first one is my tribute. It's a piece by Aleister Crowley called The Buddhist. There never was a face as fair as yours, a heart so true, a love as pure and keen. These things endure, if anything endures. But in this jungle, what high heaven immures us in its silence, the supreme, serene, crowning the Dagobah, what destines die, rings on the table, what resistless dart strikes me. I love you. Can you satisfy the hunger of my heart? Nay, not in love or faith or hope is hidden. The drug that heals my life know too well how all things lawful and all things forbidden alike disclose no pearl upon the midden, offer no key to unlock the gate of hell. There is no escape from the eternal round, no hope in love or victory or art. There is no plumb line long enough to sound the abysses of my heart. There is no dawn break, no sunlight penetrates its blackness, no moon shines, nor any star, for its own horror of itself creates malignant fate from all benignant fates. Oh, its own spite drives its own angel afar. Nay, this is the great import of the curse, that this whole world is sick and not apart, conterminous with its own universe, the horror of my heart. Aleister Crowley's The Buddhist. And I have this piece, a little lighter tone. It's something that I've written recently about our friend Donald Trump, the fresh convict. Trump's attorneys request a delay. Trump's attorneys request a delay. After all, the start of baseball season is just a few days away. The trial, of course, must be delayed. The trout spring nesting runs could occur any day. The trial session must be put on hold. Parisian fashion springs were, in fact, overly bold. The Trump cases, again, must be put on hold. The glacier retreat has been revolting and reveling, or so I'm told. Again, they call for a delay of the trial. It seems Mr. Trump remains as yet in denial. All the trials, it seems, must be delayed. The Andromeda Galaxy is on a path to waylay our dear favorite and most beloved Milky Way. Again, a galaxy which is no fantasy, no fake news, simply science, whose violence we must endure and shut the door on an overrushed trial. Again, a delay would be just in time. No greater rush should be in play. The Trumpian trial must be placed on hold. His attorney Giuliani is getting old. Far better we delay the trial. The bread attorney Haba baked is now growing mold. A speedy trial is not necessary until, in fact, all the witnesses are buried. And that's a fact. And let me read this one more here. Something that I think you may enjoy. This is a bit droll and maybe even a tad pessimistic, but it treats on our healthcare system and some of the oddities that occur from it. This is a tribute to Terry Schiavo. Maybe some of you remember a young woman who had a brain death, and her family fought over should she be turned off and turned into death, or prolonged in a brainless, senseless vegetable life. So this is called For Terry. If I cough, shut me off. If I bleed, sign the deed. If I blink, don't even think. If I groan, send me home. If I choke, cut the rope. If I'm a faint, I'm a saint. If I snore, shut the door. Heart attack, send me back. If I burp, time for turf. If I itch, dig the ditch. If I scratch, throw the latch. If I sniff, what's the diff? Can't hardly rigor, hire a digger. Getting worse, hire a hearse. No longer brave, just dig a grave. Begin to doubt, then send me out. Can't hardly whisper, send read the vespers. I can't seem to hear, pour the beer. Can't budge or burgeon, call the surgeon. Can't lose no weight, well then just cremate. Can't stop the worry, don't wait, just bury. I seem in the way, just throw me away. I take up space, then time for grace. Don't wait, don't pause, don't read the third clause. Just pull the plug, shake the rug, yank the tube, it's not rude. Pull the plug, don't be a slug, the game's all done. Hey, use a gun.
Woo!
Everybody give it up for Richard Spisak. Richard, I love your voice. I love your expressive tone and the quality, the rhyme scheme. Just, I love your work. Everybody give it up.
All right, Richard. I was having a rough day and I tuned in and your two pieces really cheered me up.
Glad to hear it.
That was some twisted darkness, I'll tell you. One of them reminded me of the last episode of Twin Peaks.
Thank you.
The historical and political commentary in them, just absolute fire.
As dark isn't easy to write sometimes.
And neither is current events. Current events are tough
That's true. Yeah.
because
Yeah.
people are feeling things as it's happening, and you've got to capture that, and that's, you did it. It was good.
I still like to go beyond hopeless, but as far as hopeless goes, you nailed it. In a funny way. I don't know what I'm saying, maybe. I don't know. But that first piece was, whew, no escape. And then Crowley wrote that. Okay, that makes sense. Oh, the guy who opened the gates of hell.
Okay. Next up on the mic, we have the host of the Slam Jam, which I was honored and very much enjoyed participating in on Saturday. Dre Reyes, will you bless us with some words?
Hey, what's happening, everybody?
Hey, Dre.
Hey, this is Stray Reyes coming at you. Yes, I'm host of the Slam Jam every Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here in this lovely Zoom room. Every week, definitely. This week, we're going to be having Shocky G as our special guest coach. I'm going to be putting that flyer down in just a moment for y'all to save and share because we love to have as much of a turnout as we can. And there we go. Boom. So, with that said, I got some poetry for y'all. I'm gonna start off with a cover. The cover of a poet that is wow. Um the one of the sweetest souls I ever met in poetry. Poet by the name of Eric Morin. It's from his chapbook Enter the Spectrum. And I'm gonna give you Spectrum. We are the ongoing journey, the poetry in motion, uncertain as the depths in the indigo oceans. We are artists and masons and the tireless hands, scarlet-stained warriors and farmers on the land. We are vigilant scholars, silver-tongued and wise, the vigorous youth who hold the future in their eyes. We are survivors of the sun's scorched screens, of the cruel acts of man, of the turmoil unseen, and all our messy mental faculties in between. Hallelujah to the spectrum, inner light in which we share, to our uniqueness in union with its wondrous glare. Hallelujah to its cadence, how it inspires us with song about, how it interweaves our stories to where to where all can belong. And hallelujah to all of you, eager sparks of potential. Release your self constraints, embrace what makes you special. Come enter the spectrum and let it take you for a ride. Set your colors on display, watch them blend and collide. It may be one among billions, but this is your show, and nobody can steal or imitates the same glow. May you always feel at home on the horizon line, and may you never be afraid to let yourself shine. Poem. Eric Morin, wonderful poet. Let's see here. I have this one. I haven't done this in a while, but this was the last of the 90s Nickelodeon characters writing letters to each other. But it was a fun concept to revisit to visit, but I think this poem is gonna make me revisit that. This is Skeeter writes to Doug. Hey Doug. I hope this letter gets to you somehow. It's been very weird getting used to living in this other Bluffington in Disney County. Disney County feels like something out of a scary movie where I'm living in a haunted parallel universe. Get this, Doug. Everyone here kind of looks and sounds like everyone at home. And I mean, everyone. Well, almost everyone. They have a Connie here who looks skinnier than the one back home. Word has it that she felt insecure about the way she looked and it went to a thing called a beauty farm and came back looking like a completely different person. I'm not kidding you. People here have distorted negative views of themselves. Even Roger lives here, and he's filthy rich. Richer than BB Bluff. Oddly enough, the middle school is named after her for some reason and shaped like her head. And then she ended up losing her fortune. This Roger has a mean streak like the one we both know, but he isn't going out of his way calling me Skeet Face. Mayor White is Principal White here. And Principal Bone is Assistant Principal Bone here at BB Bluff Middle School. But if you think that isn't weird enough, they have a version of you and your family with a baby sister named Dirt Bike. Don't ask me how or why your clone family picked that name. It's almost as if they had some kind of contest to pick that name. and everybody wanted to have a good laugh at your expense. Along with no honker burger, this place seems excuse me, along with no honker burger, this place claims that the Beats broke up. Is it true, Doug? Did they really break up, or is this town gaslighting me to think that? And if they didn't break up, why would everyone lie about it to me and even go as far as to live this lie? I don't know, man. Nobody claims to know about Nickelodeon County here, and I feel really out of place. I miss hanging out at the Honker Burger. I miss playing air guitar to the sounds of the beats. I miss going on adventures with you in Pork Chop. I miss our Bluffington. I miss you, man. I miss how home used to feel. I remember that one time I thought I was moving, but in reality, I was moving my room to the basement. I wish this last move was just to move back up to that first room. I hope you have been well, and I hope to hear from you soon. Your best pal, Mosquito Valentine. Poem. Thank y'all.
It was so beautiful, and the sound effects.
Yeah, that really brought me back. It was great.
Very cool.
You inspire what I'm doing in my set, Dre. Stay tuned.
Nice. Thank you.
Up
I like
next
that
is
poem, and I gotta say, I like that poem, and I don't even know who those characters are. But I enjoy the poem very much.
Funny.
I'm a little older out of that age group. So I missed out on some of the 90s cartoons.
I'm glad I was able to make a connection that way. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
the cultural millennial references are a huge vibe.
I lived it.
Yeah. And up next is Douglas G. Kalla.
Hey everyone, how's it going? So yeah, I'm glad to be here. I haven't been here in a long time, maybe like a year at least. So good to be back. I'll do two. This first one is called Party Favor. Arrows in my sling. They are built to be wielded with great gusto and might, fingers on quivers that never break. I am beholden to my own direction, a ship that sails in treacherous waters, tides that turn steely gazes into terrified blubbers. I feel cold in the morning. Frostbite saturates my body. 16-bit rainbows ascend over great canyons. I am the remnant of a partygoer who sees no folly. I am the dangerous gossip monger who keeps quiet. I am the reticent tiger who never pounces on his prey. Sway with me in scorched heat. Trials of a madman seeking vindication. A dossier of shady clientele fill my briefcase. I meet with them in dark, cocaine-ridden alleys where fisticuffs are never optional, feeling like hell's messenger, never a gift from God's. I only come with worse news. My views shake atoms and vibrate through nuclei. I am the bitter drink at the dinner party. I am also the most powerful flavor you've ever imbibed. As I saunter and shimmy without delay, my cupboard accumulates trinkets from journeys traveled. Eyes are open. Windows are shuttered. Light peeks through its slits. I can finally form sentences again. That's the first one. And okay. This one is short backstory. This one is about encountering racism in my immediate circle. It's called Festering. And I profiled somebody who turned out to turned out to be very racist. It's called Festering. Mean bones in the body. Sentences uttered from chapped lips. Discord rife in its wake. An off-color comment causes pitchforks and brimstones to boil. Civil rights organizations incite uprising. Member of the proletariat defends his ardent beliefs till death. This racism is systemic, embedded in the nucleus of an atom. It wasn't recently developed, a learned process passed down from hater to hater. Malevolent forces drive these proclamations. It can be disguised under the air of nonchalant kindness, but it's inescapable to the masses. It causes subjugation of class and curdles with the dregs of society. Mean bones in the body. These are the thoughts of a simple man, knee-jerk responses to progressivism. He is hardened and animalistic. Modern times shouldn't make room for such stances that dance on the spectrums of vapidity. Is this destiny enshrined? Do those filled with this much rage contain souls? Forecast for the forgotten, somber emotions for the wrongfully slain. There are still monuments erected for those gunned down, caught in the webby crossfire of polarized views. Bullet casings litter cobblestone streets. Sidearm chambers click and fire successive rounds of ammunition. The hater attempts to steal the spotlight. Never standing shoulder to shoulder. Unrest is part of protest. Ostracized like yesterday's news. Thank you.
Yeah, everybody unmute. Give it up for Douglas G. Kala.
Douglas, yeah.
Super powerful pieces there.
Indeed. Okay, next up. Everything that he
Is
thinks
Generalissimo.
Yes, Generalissimo Brian Franco. I'm glad to call him someone I know well. We have dined together in New York and participated in the New York Poetry Festival together, which was massively enjoyable because of his company. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Yes. And there's so many there. I've been collecting restaurants for us to go to next time we're in New York together, although I won't be there this year. So
Oh,
but
you're
anyway.
not going to be there this year?
No, I can't afford to go to both that and New Mexico, unfortunately. So
Can
I'm still debating. I'm still debating. We'll see. I'm still debating.
Can I chime in? I'm on Long Island and I'm going to be at the New York City Poetry Festival, but I'm not just going to be at the New York City Poetry Festival. I have a table at the New York City Poetry Festival for the Scene magazine. I won't get into that now, but Magus, if you come to the New York City Poetry Festival, we are connecting.
oh, then I remember meeting you last year.
That's amazing. I'm gonna go too. And I'm featuring there too. I'm featuring.
Oh, dude, that's amazing. All right, so I'll have a table, the Scene. Check us out, and I can't wait to meet you and meet you again.
Yeah, that'd be sweet. That'd be cool. Yeah.
Looking forward to it. I'll be there too.
So,
Okay, let's let Generalissimo bless us with his words. Anything else can go in the chat. Generalissimo, are you ready?
Yeah, so I'm just gonna cover myself tonight. So I entered into a prose poetry contest, and these are two of the poems that I entered. They're about both of my parents. So the first is called Why the Greek Gods Hired Jewish Mothers as Personal Chefs. In Jewish households, a mother's brisket is a food of the gods. Honestly, pomegranates and figs are gorgeous, but a Jewish mama brisket cooked in the oven with long, stringy onions on top and basted in its own juices is better than filet mignon or chateaubriand. When I hear the word brisket said aloud, my sensory memories go into overdrive. Why did I never ask Mom to teach me how she made hers? We'd host 20 to 30 guests for Rosh Hashanah and Passover, and there was never any brisket left over. I think she poured beef broth and Worcestershire over the top, then sprinkled the top with garlic, black pepper, and a packet of Lipton's onion soup mix, and topped it with thin slices of freshly cut Spanish onions. She would pull out the pan every so often and suction its juices with a turkey baster and drip the juices over the top. My dad would slice it thinly, and the au jus, gravy, and stringy onions went into a side bowl. At the same time, she baked her famous pineapple golden raisin kugel in the other oven. She always made a rice dish, usually with almonds and fresh stir-fried green beans. At the number one spot on the buffet was her Greek salad with red onions, cukes, feta, unpitted Kalamata olives, half cherry tomatoes, and Ken's steakhouse Greek dressing. Mom never made homemade dressing, but her Greek salads were legendary. The multitasking skills to organize such dinners for so many people with everything always ready on time and never under or overcooked would have put me in a straitjacket if I had to try so much at once. I was watching a show about Texas barbecue. They pulled a blackened brisket from the smoker, smoke wafting from its top. As they carved several slices, all my sensory memories could smell was Mom's Jewish mama brisket. And the next one, once, twice, three times a gumbo. There's this thing about how we eat certain Southern foods, what we eat them with, how we combine them on our forks and in our spoons before we eat them is as personally proprietary as how we load our dishwashers. My father made his famous gumbo only 3 times. On the Saturdays after his son's bar mitzvahs, there'd be a mid-afternoon party at our 305, a mid-afternoon party at our 305 Fernhill Court home, usually in conjunction with an Alabama Crimson Tide football game. Dad started cooking the gumbo early in the morning. We all pitched in. We chopped fresh onions, celery, okra, and a few other veggies. There were beautiful, plump, fresh caught Gulf shrimp he got from his shrimp guy and live crabs from a crab guy. The cooked crabs were broken apart just before serving. I remember him making a roux. He had special spices he bought from a Cajun butcher shop on the outskirts of New Orleans on the causeway along Lake Pontchartrain. The rice was Mahatma brand brown rice cooked in chicken broth, placed on a large baking pan under the ceiling fan atop the butcher block island in the center of the kitchen to let it air out and cool off before fluffing it, then putting it in the oven till it was just warm enough for serving. The rice was spooned into a bowl and topped with crab pieces and gumbo. Thick, soupy liquid would slide between the grains of rice. When you dipped your spoon into this delectable Creole stew, and it penetrated the rice like a shovel hitting a treasure chest, you knew something visceral would happen when the spoon entered your mouth. Thank you, everyone.
Whoa, never come to a Brian Franco reading hungry. Oh my God, I am starving now. Yeah. Brian Franco, everybody open your mics. Give some love to Generalissimo, Brian Franco.
Yeah.
That was dope.
Why did I hear Generalissimo instead of a general?
So evocative, Brian.
I think the poem affected me.
I can taste what you say.
I was literally eating and my mouth was still watering.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I was dope.
Up next is Jacob Moses.
Hey everybody, hope everyone's doing all right. I'm actually gonna dedicate this next poem to Dre and to Doug because I did not include a Doug reference in my tribute to Nickelodeon. I need to at the very least dedicate it to someone named Doug. Just kidding. I'm featuring at the Poetry Festival this year also, and I'll be on the Blackbird stage, 11:30 p.m. July 13th. So I'm going to read this particular poem here, which is dedicated to Nickelodeon and dedicated to how the Nickelodeon originally referred to a piece of machinery and not a network. Our ancestors cranked calls to action as nickels bought 15 minutes. Legacy reintroduced by name, never known by shapes other than amorphous blobs, green slime, orange clouds, white bubbles. Have the guts to make the grade? I double dare you to prove it. Get a little happy, give a lot of joy. Modern life of Rugrats sponged off nostalgia, spun in a pinwheel, hidden in a temple blown by Nick at night. You can no longer air these shows on television. Simply mentioning Nickelodeon encourages nostalgic growth, as many will never understand the initial etymology. 5 cents operated the Nickelodeon, 6th sense resurrected the imagery. And then the second one was published in the New Generation Beats anthology of 2023, in which I am in the company of people like Doug and Generalissimo. And this poem is called Palace Amusements. Asbury Park greets me within your thin-lipped, toothy smile. At the end of every labyrinth, you straddle the seashore's yen. You are a funhouse mirror, distorting my figure, yet always finding abundant embodiment within my gut. My navel yearns for that connection to amusement within these vibrant walls. Love was the product of jackpots won from slot machines, dispensing ducats, tokens tossed from one hand, arm pulled by the other hand. You were the windfall stashed within this chest of hazy nostalgia. Adulthood proves more haunting compared to the cart carrying me through those mysterious halls, wishing I could be hypnotized just so I could catch a spoonful of what once satiated my satisfaction. One taste of the sacrament derived from riding the roller coaster before it became a cliche denoting a diagnosis, before mania surged through my synapses like a Jimi Hendrix guitar solo, after bumper cars foreshadowed the accidents I'd face throughout these static frequencies of depression. If you were a Eucharist, I'd be an idolater. For you were the body of a god I tasted before knowing what it meant to be a righteous Jew. You were the excuse I needed to play hooky from Sunday school. You were the choir who greeted me before I possessed the voice to echo any calls I desperately needed to answer. You were the calming voice I needed before my own soothsaying emerged. Now the tongue with which I speak needs to taste the honey into which I dip my apple. Now this fruit stirs nectar of passing years in a cloud, accessed via my digital thumbprint, repressed via my carbon footprint. Pollen is carried by a generation of workers and drones. If I left an intention on my doorstep, I'd wish for it to be carried by the westerly wind. I'd hope the corners of the crown in my castle mirrored this palace of amusements. I'd pray the pleasantries could be contained by the channels from which we feel joy. May our data be easy to transmit, even if our devices are outdated. May said devices be reused as analog anecdotes. Let them be paperweights for the childhoods we cherish, preserving a trail back to the inner offspring struggling to spawn and survive. Thank you.
Just
Yeah,
at a
give
loss
it
for
up.
words there. Can't
Yeah,
begin
give
to
it
express
up.
how much I love that. Great job.
Wow.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. Like the shit jumps off paper. Like I can see it jump off paper. Like that's good shit. Good shit, Jacob.
Yes, so many lines, so many lines.
Indeed.
And I didn't know the origin story. There's a origin story of the word Nickelodeon before Nickelodeon. I gotta look that up and understand it more. Just
Yeah,
gotta,
Nickelodeon was like that machine that you would look into and you would pay like a nickel to watch a movie or a newsreel by turning a crank while you're using it.
wow.
I remember learning about the Nickelodeon like in elementary school. It like basically the best way to compare it to today is like the ancient version of YouTube. As you said there, like 15 minutes of some footage, whether it be a newsreel or some highlights from sports or a skit. Yeah. I thought that was cleverly pieced together, intertwining the two kinds of Nickelodeon. So I want to
The
applaud you on that end. With that said, please come back to this environment. We
there's a
want you here.
Yeah, there's a I don't want to go long, but there's a
perspective.
perspective of our generation from like Magus and I looking back at your generation who saw this thing come into being, that there's a perspective of what you witnessed and what we didn't have. That's interesting, but I don't want to go into that now. Maybe some other time. It's
Interesting.
interesting. It's interesting to see that you saw retro, but we did not see retro in our day. If it wasn't on it, we never saw it again. It was
Mm.
interesting.
Mm.
Yeah, you can put it in the chat too, CC. Anything you have to say can go in the chat.
No, that's
Now,
it.
next up, Alma.
Yes, next up is Cora. Is it your first time here?
No, I've been here a few times. I've just been away for 2 months, maybe, dealing with
Oh,
some
okay.
shit.
Well, welcome back.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. So my first piece is a cover. I picked up this book called The Tiny Journalist by Naomi Shihab Nye. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but she's a Palestinian poet, and this was published in 2019. And I found this piece really illuminating, I think. It's called "And That Mysterious Word, Holy." You might as well take a rotten lemon, squeeze it in your hand. Let the juice trickle down your wrist and arm, sharp bite of acidity prickling your scratches and scars, and say, I bow down to you. When the almond tree erupts into blossom without help from any people, I bow down. Here we are in the land of sacred story, chant, shrines, altars and grottos, parables, and soldiers in camouflage are carrying guns. What does that say about holy? How much power it doesn't have. Thou shalt not kill crumpled under our feet. Whose religion would you follow, and why do they wear camouflage? We can still see them. Who are they hiding from? The guns are bigger than we are. The tanks are bigger than shrines, tear gas canisters, grenade casings littering graves of our ancestors in the cemetery. I bow down. You bow to the big shining platter everyone eats off together. Sit in a circle for your holy rice. Speak after me, holy eggplant, my best angel. Poem. And then in a similar vein, I have some new shit. I wrote it a couple days ago. This is called Strawberries. Shards of selenium, potent medicine bars for shareholders sleepwalking into liquor stores, clears sins of the silent, cleans droplets of hunger from their chins with white cotton cloths woven on a loom long departed from Baja California, bombarded by cyclones that remain little as an image on newsreels nestled between spreadsheet marking profits, returns on investments, consummation of the land ravaged and discarded. We barter for the sky while rhinestone eyes retreat into Clementine's sun, creeping over the horizon, bakes earth, fractures without prejudice to agricultural spoils, pillbugs crushed under beneath boot heels, broken treads beneath bent brown backs, scooping strawberries into plastic baskets. We peruse markets for just desserts to fill our pantries, pots and pockets, imaginary money exchanged for strawberries, harvested cheap, consumed without regard to sweat dripping on dewdrops suspended on leaves needed to sustain rewards. We go hungry in the eyes of prairie fields. Who fractures her treasures for apartment windows, overlooking apartment windows, seeking scenery and spoils that used to be, now fallow, due to the pit and pinnacle of wealth, measuring the fallout of weathered hands, carrying green lines to percentile peaks. Shards of crystalline glass, dewdrops, glittering over fractured meadows, drips down from steel beam buildings, evaporates like doobies, donated to a Chicano with all his belongings sitting on the corner of 6th and El Prado, who sits upon a sofa couch embedded between highway poppies, asphalt dandelions, and trash bags of soda cans. Aluminum, traded for strawberries that he harvests weeks before the season closed its market for labor. He barters his weathered shoes, dried mud caked into crevices, rubber shreds with cracked heels, exoskeletons and remnants of organisms petrified without equal payment for their hard labor. Laborers swindled, federal crumbs dolled out in exchange for blisters and eyes wrinkled by time under cinnabar sun. He peruses urban corridors, chasing shadows to evade the afternoon sun, beating down like a carnival, cheating children of dreams. Carnations in 5-gallon buckets exchanged for invidious tickets handed out of monochrome sedans, slips of carbon copies passing through tinted window to concrete median, placed in pocket for hindquarters bent over crushed ice plant. He hungers for places no longer offered by farmers reluctant to fracture their fields of prairie grass and alfalfa, which bakes in the summer air, is then replenished by Colorado aquifer, stretched thin like sunburnt skin, catching marine layer mist for a morning rinse. And the scent of strawberries in the wind catches like memories of anthocyanin, staining calloused hands with sweet crimson, red like the generational inheritance of promises long overdue for realization by the wealthy who care nothing for strawberries. So long as their profit margins remain steady and the Chicano on the street corner gets the ticket. Thanks.
Wow, absolutely amazing. Just blown away. You can check up the chat for more commentary, and please go ahead and open your mics and show some love to Cora.
Laura, that was incredibly strong work, really powerful. Just the level of detail and
Cora, talking
yeah,
about melding worlds. Like we shared the mic
Melding
in San
worlds.
Diego, and now here she is at Chaos Magic. What's good,
yeah.
Cora? Good to see you.
Thank you.
That's truly stunning, Cora. I don't even have the words, but wow, I'm so spellbound and just deeply humbled. by the sheer power, the magic of your words. Thank you so much.
That's what we do at Chaos Magic. Bring the magic. Cora brought it. Don't be surprised when it happens again. Yeah. Okay. Next up on the mic, I'm going back up to the list here. One of my favorite people on planet Earth, Marianne Teft.
Oh,
Yes, Marianne, author of Full Moon Fire. Will you bless us with some words, Marianne? Your
oh, the
gorgeous
pleasure would be
voice.
mine, Magus. Thank you so much. What a kind thing to say. Lovely to see you too,
Cheers.
Alma, and poet friends everywhere. This is actually for you, Magus. I have a feeling 2, maybe 3 weeks ago, you mentioned the word buffalo. And I had then in my mind this poem by the master, Carl Sandburg, Buffalo Dusk. The buffaloes are gone, and those who saw the buffaloes are gone. Those who saw the buffaloes by thousands, and how they pawed the prairie sod into dust with their hoofs, their great heads down, pawing on in a great pageant of dusk. Those who saw the buffaloes are gone, and the buffaloes are gone. Thank you. And while we are speaking of ruminants, I wrote this poem last year, March, for Africa Day, and it's called Greater Kudu. Born under the full buck moon of July, I am a soft touch for any image that reminds me of my proud totem animal. So when the screensaver tells me, we think these woodland antelopes are pretty great, suddenly I'm detouring from the monthly newsletter I'm meant to be writing into the life and times of a splendid beast with twisted horns that dip and soar like jazz music, braided like sweet licorice into proud headpieces that sashay among African trees. Like Magick or Prince or LeBron, his is a name to reckon with, a moniker for which he's got to thank his forebears, because even if he's only just an average kudu, in the whole of Kingdom Animalia, he'll always be greater. Thank you.
Yeah, everybody open your mics for Marianne Teft. Give some love.
Marianne, always liked hearing you.
I
It
love
was
your
so
words. I
sublime.
love your
Thank you
voice.
so much for that.
Thank you. Always.
And next up on the mic, my personal friend, who I am just delighted to know. He's been a rock in my life. Nemo Sum, can you bless us with some words?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Gustav. I did my first paid in-person feature last Thursday. And I wrote a piece for it based on the title of a piece that I really like and I'm about to read, called Let the Bells Ring by Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds. Doing that feature, I was supposed to remember 2 things. Number 1, take a bottle of water. Number 2, slow down. I remembered neither thing. So. This is Let the Bells Ring by Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds. Come on, kind sir, let's walk outside and breathe the autumn air. See the many that have lived and died. See the unending golden stare. See all of us that have come behind, clutching at your hem, all the way from Arkansas to your sweet and last amen. Let the bells ring. He is the real thing. Let the bells ring. He is the real, real thing. Take this deafening thunder down. Take this bread and take this wine. Your passing is not what we mourn, but the world you left behind. Well, do not breathe nor make a sound, and behold your mighty work that towers over the uncaring ground of a lesser, darker world. There are those of us not fit to tie the laces of your shoes, must remain behind to testify through an elementary blues. So let's walk outside. The hour is late. Through your crumbs and scattered shells, where the odd and the mediocre wait, barely fit to ring the bells. Let the bells ring. He is the real thing. Let the bells ring. He is the real, real thing. And then this is my poem based on the title, Let the Bells Ring. Mr. Grief left his card for next time. Now that the path is clear and the pain ain't so bad anymore. The smell of lightning rises from the ashes now that the house has burned to the ground. The peals of thunder are barely audible as the storm crawls away. So let the bells ring. Blows landed did their damage, but the pounding's done. There's still rage in this ragged man, holding on to ropes to stay standing, but I was never strong. This fighter doesn't get to fall. So let the bell ring. Feeling damned made death's dance seductive until putting my shoulder down pushed the dark back enough to get the words out. But demon songs still echo in my ears no matter how much I heal, so let hell ring. I've had my bell rung, been stung, flung, I've fallen, but I never had wings. Always too far from heaven to be heard, but still spitting scripture like some devil's son. So let the muse sing. May these verses resonate. May they give you fuel to fight. Maybe we can spend what we have left feeling less alone. Healing hearts, grabbing hands, listening. I'm listening. I'm still listening. So let the bells ring. Thank you.
Let the bells ring and open up your mics for Nemo Zoom.
Woo!
Nemo!
All right.
Yeah. Tremendous piece. Great read too. Really powerful. Like I felt your righteous upset and anger and fury. It was there.
You do incredible work, and congratulations on the everybody hold their breath paid poetry gig. I had one about 3 weeks ago. I got hired to be a guest poet at a Mensa party, at a house party. Yeah, it was pretty good. $80, $50 and 3 books, or a couple of books. Yeah, it was good. Didn't know anyone.
Hey,
That's great.
poets.
It's awesome.
Hey,
Paid
poets. We're
poets,
worth
paid
it.
poets. Let the mantra ring.
Yes. Okay, Alma.
Up next is Elemental.
Host of the Thursday night New Eurekan Poets Cafe online open mic. It's Elemental, the one and only
Oh, a newbie.
newbie. Is this your first time on the mic?
Yeah. I'm from another dimension called I wish a motherfucker would.
God damn.
That's dimension 13 and a half if you're not hip.
I got off at the 13th floor when they told me that it wasn't one. They said it skipped from 12 to 14. That's not mine, that's Outcast. What's good people? It is always great to see y'all. Shout out to Megas. It's been a while, man. As he said, I'm the host of the Thursday night online open mic presented by the New Eurekan Poets Cafe. Make sure you come through. Lot of familiar faces in here. Usual suspects in the building. Good to see y'all this side of Thursday night. And anytime when you have a chance to love poetry and do this whole thing that we do. All right, I'm hit y'all with two pieces. I know this is a cover space. So, as my man likes to say, I didn't come here to tap dance. And neither does this cat most of the time. This is from a community member of ours named Baba Ngoma Hill. Shout out to Gods in the Earth. This is My Pen's Got a Point. It's a gloomy day in Gotham. Even the sky weeps. 2 trips around the sun short of half a century since the king of love was killed. Malcolm's cry for self-determination short-circuited by civil rights still absent, the debt of reparations still not paid, Peckerwood's disillusions, Confederate battle rags taped to the consciousness, brains on lockdown, illiterate believers in the holy Babel wishing for the good old days when strange fruit hung from poplar trees, ghosts of Hitler reincarnated, water hoses replaced by tear gas, tanks, and FEMA camps on standby for the coming Armageddon. Gentrification is ethnic cleansing. Land of the free, home of the brave, doomsday looms on the horizon as we pray. This is a nightmare. I'm afraid my tongue was handcuffed, struggling to sound the alarm, hoping you read this poem of liberation before the Fifth Amendment is taken hostage and thinking is outlawed. I'm just glad my pen's got a point.
Baba!
Serious
And thinking is outlawed. Do not take those words lightly.
That dude's just serious business, man. And I love the revolt that he speaks with. It just and he rocked with some of the best. So here's my contribution this evening. Shout out to Paint Slingers in the building. This is some new shit. Listen, shout out all the family, man. Shout out to Keeper Concrete. Shout out to educators in the building. Folk, you heard some of this, but I continue. So let's get it. This still does not have a title. Strangely enough, does not. Actually, I was thinking of Veritas Ray Publique or The Truth of Politics. I question history's 7-card soliloquies dealt by death dealers with flaming tongues that flop or flap like lost pages blown by winds of truth, with a splash of sickening sour song script of I wish you Negroes, slaves, children of Eden on this side of hell would go back to wherever you consider home faster than speeding bullet trains on hate's tracks, with all love intended. Rest in pieces. Back across the Tallahatchie and shining sea, all the way over there. Brought to you by your friendly neighbors' hoods, sharp as cathedral spires, carrying crosses that crossroads and palms as omen. Damien feasting on horrors from closets to counters, so clockwise they plantation time made it cotton, so soft as egos turn white sheets to provocation that become declaration of damnation, pledge allegiance to the flag of the divided states of hysteria, though a republic standing on coded coordinates driven toward head-on collision with who cares what you think anyway. We nation, one in name only, divisible by more odds than Vegas. Name a country where people have gambling addictions, that slot machine poverty, and who the hell cares what you need? It's money, baby. Your dreams are jackpots with built-in bells, bright lights, and blistering bonuses that scorch pockets, wrapped in acceptance speeches for seats at the district county trash commission. Make landfill more dumpster, less Groucho Marx masquerades of we the people. Demand a more perfect union, or we can make your dream, make it ruin, diversify your bonds, bombs, psalms, make it woo, tang, release the hounds on old dirty bastards, make massacre of masses like Supreme Court justices thinking justice is just us, better yet them when it comes to reproduction rights, left wing broken, flying in circles, asses bleeding, seeking relief, call it politics, born from parlor tricks with no regret attached. Besides, you'd have to be human for that. Make contact with this land is our land, where pilgrims turned pillagers traded carnage for citizenship. Call it contract for civilization. Said exile over execution equates to equal balance of supremacy. Tis of thee, differential equations from trickery to ometry. Partology, make ism system dusted with Ritalin to avalanche ski slopes into a big fat pharma paradise. Protected by this arsenal democracy, with itchy fingers on buttons, make decisions, triggers, withering on frontal lobes of lobotomized minds, trying to Smithsonian Reaganomics into necessary and subjugate murder rates to, that's the least of our worries, because ends justify means, green stuffed, greedy accounts that can buy anyone's truth with enough left to generate proof of translation. So King James Version, in God we trust, our money will make us holy, as if denominations could keep demon slayers at bay. We hear your NIV beast breathing, ever hungry for more than what you deserve. So we thunder, clap, and flash at God's speed, make turbulent waters to exercise wicked spirits running, sprinting, clawing and killing for a rerun of Red Rum, no chaser, Overlook Hotel. These dull boys work and play in theaters of war, fancy themselves king where all is fair. The only sense they make comes attached to dollars. So save your bread. You'll only get shortchanged, because the house always wins in America. Peace, y'all.
Wow, 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 wow.
Brilliant
Open your
fucking
mic.
work.
There's about 10
Oh
good
my God,
titles in there.
brilliant fucking work.
Wow, Elemental. Wow.
There's
Yeah,
about
you
10
went
good
there.
titles in there.
I heard you
That-
write poems.
I could hear the Baba influence, though. I could hear him saying, move my pen. But I was gonna go with Paradise. I know it's a curveball, but there's a lot of good titles in there, but it's hard to pull them.
You got to paradox that paradigm, make it, rub it with a nickel and make it $1,
It's a lot of good. It's good work. That's really good work. That's really good work. You're knocking on Baba's door. I'm gonna give you that.
Yeah, you should stick with this poetry thing. I think you
Yeah,
got
give it a
game.
shot. Give it a shot.
Give it a shot. Yeah. We love you, Elemental. Everybody come to Thursday night New Eurekan Poets Cafe online open mic, the OG online open mic that Elemental has been holding down like a boss. He has been doing a great job. He is the host of the most. And next up on the mic, Alma, can you tell us who?
Next up is C. Santos. I'm going to pin you both.
Hello. Okay. So I am in no way, shape, or form a singer. So I'm not gonna sing, but the cover I have for you is Stone Cold by Demi Lovato. Stone cold, stone cold. You see me standing, but I'm dying on the floor. Stone cold, stone cold. Maybe if I don't cry, I won't feel it anymore. Stone cold. God knows I try to feel happy for you. Know that I am. Even if I can't understand, I'll take the pain. Give me the truth. Me and my heart will make it through. If happy is her, I'm happy for you. Stone cold, stone cold. You're dancing with her while I'm staring at my phone. Stone cold, stone cold. I was your amber, but now she's your shade of gold. Stone cold. God knows I try to feel happy for you. Know that I am, even if I can't understand, I'll take the pain. Give me the truth. Me and my heart will make it through. If happy is her, I'm happy for you. Don't want to be stone cold. I wish I could mean this, but here's my goodbye. I'm happy for you. Know that I am, even if I can't understand. If happy is her, I'm happy for you. That was my cover. Okay, next is something special. This poem is called Commotion Emotion, written by the Sea and the Magus.
Here in the hood, times are tough. Life is rough. I climb out of the coffin, breathing hard and coughing, seething with anger and already late. I've no time for hate. So much is urgent. I'm neurodivergent, feeling overwhelmed by the city vibe. I do what I must to stay alive.
Living poor, not hardcore. All this homelessness around is so hard to ignore. Addicts in the streets, children dying from defeat, men in heat. It's all just too much at times. I can't compute or compete.
I hold my head up and get on with the day. Sometimes this is the only way I can deal with it all. I can take that call. I just fake it till I make it.
Maybe one day it will be true. A sense of accomplishment long overdue. Tired of always feeling screwed. Life, sometimes I just want to shake you. Walking in the streets, music on beat, a little self-peace before I turn into a beast.
Music is all it takes to make my day brighter, just what I need to make the load lighter. Tunes that move me through my day. Music makes my day sway from overwhelming to pretty fucking okay. From I can't deal to I got this. Music is my one true bliss.
Bumping a beat, music on fleek, turning up the heat. My life ain't for the weak. Be careful around me or I'll leave you deceased.
Of course, that was metaphorically speaking. We are not bugging, we are not tweaking. Through the city streets we're freaking. We are the poets you are seeking.
Standing tall, standing proud, a poetic heart is all you need to flip this city upside down. Listen to our pain, listen to our hopes, listen to the cries of all the woke. Help out a neighbor, help out a friend, help out a soul who's on the edge. All this commotion is poetry in motion, rushing forward, devotion, seeking deeper emotion.
emotion. Thank you
Thank
all.
you.
Love you all.
Wow, absolutely
right.
mind blown. I'm gonna take you off spotlight, but I'm over here just blown away. Can't speak. Open your mics and give out some love.
Wow. That was incredible. Wow.
So
Never
amazing.
cease to amaze, man. With every collab, it just keeps getting better and better, man. Dope.
You're an animal, man. You're like the king of like, you're like the Little Wayne, like back in the day. You're featured on everybody, and every feature you do with everybody you do it with, like, they're amazing. Like, there's no seesaw. Like, you guys just elevate the art, and I appreciate that. Like, thank you. Shout out, C.
Okay, up next is CP Maze.
That was ironic. Hey, everybody. Yeah, CP Maze. I host an open mic called Bottoms Up. Second and fourth Sunday. We had some like tech difficulties last one, but it's coming up this Sunday. It's gonna be crazy. We got a feature. His name is Jesus Christ. We're bringing in Gandhi. Like, we're gonna walk on water. Like, there's nobody named Jesus Christ coming. If you believe that, like, shoot yourself.
Say, no, you did not.
But yeah, it's tons of fun. Like, good dialogue, good people, good art. My cover is I've had 2 or 3 flasks in my lifetime, and I've always had them engraved. And one was called Howl, of course, my Ginsberg flask, and the other one was called Chimney Sweeper, and it's by William Blake. Chimney Sweeper. When my mother died, I was young, by William Blake. When my mother died, I was very young, and my father sold me while yet my tongue could scarcely cry. Weep, 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 so your chimney I sweep, in soot I sleep. There's little Tom, who cried when his head that curled like a lamb's back was shaved. So I said, hush, Tom, never mind it. For when your head's bare, you know that the soot cannot spoil your white hair. And so he was quiet. And that very night, as Tom was asleeping, he had such a sight that thousands of sweepers, Dick, Joe, Ned, and Jack, were all of them locked up in coffins of black. And by came an angel who had a bright key, and he opened the coffins and set them all free. Then down the green plain, leaping, laughing, they run and wash in the river and shine in the sun. Then naked and white, all their bags left behind, they rise upon the clouds and sport in the wind. And the angel told Tom if he'd be a good boy, he'd have God for his father and never want joy. And so Tom awoke, and we rose in the dark. We got our bags and our brushes to work. So the morning was cold. Tom was happy, warm. If all do their duty, they need not fear harm. Chimney sweeper. When my mother died, I was very young. Yeah, he's one of my favorite poets. Yeah, so a poem that dug out to add to this manuscript. Not gonna tell you how old I am right now, but this poem was called 29 Years Old. 29 years old, born July 17th, 1978, at an uncle's birthday party. Well, my father was trying to get another nut and my mother's water broke. They drove me to a county hospital, which means I was born in between the words fuck and you, letters K and Y. When it comes to stereotypes, I am a slippery anomaly. It isn't in my heritage to be a heretic. My mother is a pistol, my father a light grenade. They gave birth to a son Sue, a small third world country well-schooled in the arts of war. I can break down an M16 blindfolded, reassemble it, perform a fully functioning operational check in less than 60 seconds. I live my life the same way I relive my nightmares, up close and fucking personal. Honestly, if you have never seen the face of a killer, you should take a good look at one, because honesty's not your best policy when you serve 5 years underneath the United States Marine Corps acronym of USMC. You signed the motherfucking contract, CP Mays. I learned CPR as a sergeant by placing my fingers to the pulse of a corporal, counting heartbeats, trying to break a contract, reading with patriotism's pain, signed on his own skin dotted lines. My life is a made-for-lithium movie, starring Charles Perry, directed by Jesus, edited by Beelzebub, no special effects. My parents didn't choose to abort me, so from my first to my last action scene, you can expect no goddamn wires. I hold my children the same way the court taught me to raise an assault rifle. Be dropped, dead, gorgeous, because my grandfather died a prisoner of war in his own home, elderly and alone. My grandmother was a call sign, let's call her cancer. She died fighting operations, trying to endure freedom, but they gave birth to a pistol that one day married a night grenade, and at 2:53 a.m. they gave birth to their only son, Sue, a small third world country that will one day grow to become evasive maneuvers and metaphors sonnet of napalm well schooled in the art of war. Your tax money paid for me to become brilliantly book smart. Also paid for me to have a real killer's common sense. The only person I fear is God. But I'm afraid he won't forgive me for everything else. These two hands have made love and war in the very same night, and these ain't no goddamn metaphors. These are where my breaths go to log, blog, and post-traumatic stress. Born in between that K and Y, a slippery anomaly. Read me openly if you don't understand my thought. Maybe you need to format the face of your hot cap and stereotypes. Poetry didn't save my life, but I got 2 rows of medals that proves it for goddamn sure. Save yours. You better tell him, God. Home.
God damn, dude. Again, you bring it so hard. Just amazing.
Appreciate it.
Everybody open your mics. Give some love to CP Mays.
Go off, fucking amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Over here,
tell him,
out of
God.
breath
Damn.
from the revolutions here.
You
I'm
better
just
tell
an
him, God, that
extension.
one don't play around.
Extension of you guys. Like, I feel as if every poet has a little bit of every other poet they come across or read, however subliminal or whatever. So, like, I'm an extension of a bunch of great motherfuckers, you know?
You know what you do with your let me shut this other thing down. I'm in here in 2 places here. The way you honor where you come from unapologetically. I know no one who can go that deep and that dark and come out with love when there's nothing but stains there that you could just be running from or hiding from or saying, parting it from. Instead, you embrace it, heal it, love it, and then bring it to fucking fine art. So in other words, you're pretty good at this game. You should keep writing. Definitely keep writing. You and Elemental are newbies, I know, but
I appreciate it. Like I was sick as a dog. Like literally, I'm drinking like Pedialyte, like sick as crazy. And I was like, I gotta hit this open mic. But I don't know. I had such a bad series of nightmares last night that I like when they're really bad, I wake up and my ribs are sore, like muscle tension or whatever. And all I could think about was you know, I gotta do this. This is the way I feel better about all of me, you know? So thank y'all. Thank you for doing this. Thank y'all for being awesome. Can't wait to hear some more poets. Awesome.
Thank you so much. I was over here banging the table, like, yes, hit again. And that was great. Up next is CC Shagra.
All right, I'm gonna do a little Chris Van Noy, U.S. Beat Poet Laureate from 18 to 19. This is a little piece he calls Stray Bullets. Stray bullets exploding from the muzzle of some young punk's gun as he discharges reality that spits fear at his enemies, sometimes unfolding them into stillness on sidewalks and streets where they are remembered in chalk outline drawings and yellow ribbons that say "Do not cross." Stray bullets go one way, carry no apologies, feel no remorse, know only the law of ballistics, stop when they can go no further. They don't sound like death, more like the 4th of July. The baby just stopped crying, that's all. That's all. Stray bullets. Chris Van Noy. So I wrote a love song that's brand new. I'm still working on it. So for those of you that didn't do the thing, it wiped me out. I have not been the same. I've been dealing with health issues and drinking water and learning to piss and shit all over again and decide where I'm going to call HOME. So in the meantime, with all that going down, I wrote something up called Better Than the Words I Love You. It's new. I'm still writing it. Way you make me feel is so much better, better than the words I love you. The smile when your eyes meet mine can melt this heart of mine. You are wonder and dreams. You are tender of air, and that's the air that lets love breathe. Oh, if I could only be this light. I hope you let love in. Too suddenly be we discover. Oh, the miracle of we, where we understand the dance of life and the touch of every cell on fire and the cellular moving winds of we are dancing on the ground of we believe in the way we share love feels is so much better than the words I love you. I'm thinking lots of instrumental. I don't have the horns yet. So that's a newbie. That's a brand newbie.
That rasp was given everything. Just
I'm
saying.
telling you, the rasp. We're bringing the raspy back. We're just gonna
Bringing
bring
the
raspy
raspy back. Woo!
Right?
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Yo,
Right
dude,
on.
that was awesome.
So you know,
Okay.
when it's interesting because it's like I could just be writing "woe is me" dark shit, and instead I write a fucking love poem. That's a song, and what's beautiful is that in order to write that, you sit in front of a piano and you cry for 4 hours.
Right.
So
Okay, next up on the mic, we have
thank you,
the
Maggie.
host. Pleasure. Next up on the mic, we have the host of Queen's Poetic Alchemy, Dr. Faison. Would you please unmute and bless us with some words?
Hey, thank you so much. Oh my gosh, you guys have been so amazing, so inspiring. Yeah, it feels really good to be back. All right, so first I want to start off by covering one of my favorite poets, Anis Majgani. Yeah, this is a poem called For Those Who Can Still Ride an Airplane for the First Time. I'm 30 years old. I'm trying to figure out most days what being a man means. I don't drink, fight, or love, but these days I find myself wanting to do all three. And I don't really have a favorite color anymore, but I did when I was a kid. And back then, that color was blue. And back then, I wanted to be an astronaut. I wanted to be an architect, an artist, a secret agent, a ranger for the World Wildlife Fund, and a hobo. And when I was 6 years old, I used to always throw my clothes into my blue and yellow Hot Wheels car carrying suitcase and run away to beneath the dining room table. I've made out with more girls than I wish I've had, and not nearly as many as I'd like to. I've been in love 4 or 5 times, so I doubt I'm gonna try that much more often. And I spend most days making pictures, or thinking about making pictures, or masturbating, or thinking about masturbating, and I dream too much, and I don't write enough. And I'm trying to find God everywhere, trying to figure out this thing he made called a man. And the television tells me that that's bare knuckled bombing. And if I had a tank or was a movie star, my penis would be huge. And that's what I want because that's what being a man means, or at least that's what they keep telling me. My penis, he takes care of us. He puts the garbage out twice a week. He drives 45 minutes just to water flowers. I'm sitting on the bus when a 7-year-old boy carrying a book of Robin Hood, he sits down next to me and asks me my name. Anise. That's a nice name. Thank you. What's yours? Quentin. Anise, do you want to read with me? So, tell me what my fists are writing. My fingers, they open up like gates when I write, and the wind is swinging in the wake. I lift bridges with poems and forests grow in my mother's eyes. I'm looking for God, Quentin. While this world tries to forget you for trying. For Quentin, this world hates your eyes, for they're simple and pure. And Quentin, this world hates your fingers, little like the stems of flowers, for not being able to pick the things that you left behind simply because you're still learning to do so. I don't drink, fight, or fuck, but these days, Quentin, is only 2 out of those 3 that I don't do. And I fall in love 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times, Quentin. So I don't want to, but I still do. And I want to find God in the morning and in the tired hands of dusk at the mouth of the river and down by its feet. But instead, I drive 60 through residential streets praying to hit a child so that they may stay forever an angel and stay forever full of night and light and crayons and simple outstretched limbs, trying to pick up way too much, way too fast, forgetting what it means to be a person in a world where egos are measured with tabloids, where automobiles double for morals, where beliefs are like naps, you leave them behind when somebody touches you, and in a place where oil always takes precedence over life, I find myself sitting on a bus, watching a small boy float down like fresh water, carrying a book I used to, asking if I want to see what he sees, if only for a little while. And I do. Then he asks if I want to give it to him. what I see, if only for a little while, and I read to him, and then he says to me he's going to show me the world, and starts reading me the sentences himself, his hands dancing back and forth across the pages, stumbling over words, skipping over lines because his fingers are moving faster than what they're showing his eyes. I want to tell him, slow down, Quentin, slow down. You don't have to touch and go. You can see it all. If your finger whispers on one word, slow down and hold what you see just a little bit longer. For in a world of fast faces, I'm looking for God everywhere, trying to figure out a little better this little thing he made called a man. So yeah, that was yeah, one of my favorites. Yeah, and I can't hope to follow Anisa Ghani, but just read something totally different. I wrote a while ago, and it's called Survival. I used to roll up in my family's basement, thinking my life is a shitty prose piece written by some creep with hand cramps who can't for the life of him decide why this story had to exist. My aunt and uncle used to call me stranger and chuckle. I laughed too, high as I was on the fumes of their hospitality, higher than my uncle's hairline, higher than the pride I bartered and the years of life I spent for a brand new fucking smartphone to just hear my dad say I love you for perhaps the second time in my life. The first being a response to a score which may or may not have been higher than the rooftop I almost jumped off of without a word. Because what could I possibly write that they understand? Love by numbers is like filling bowls with bowls stacked full of empty. My poetry cannot be translated like the truth which boils my blood as it ignites these paper thin walls. My truth, which could have spoken in the language of flame, could have filled the air with the stench of brain spilled all over the silence I made my home, buoyed by the brooks of blood, which, like my shower, can run cold at the slightest touch. My touch, which, like my intentions, only ever goes unnoticed. Repeat after me. No one will ever love me the way I love them. No one I love. Now, here I sit, listening to a Dominican boy whose overdose could have been written by Junot Diaz, his lips slung so low as he says he didn't want to kill himself with 3 bottles of Klonopin. He only wanted his family to love him, his family who forbade him to return home. But this ward was never home, except perhaps when I lean in to those lights in his eyes and pray they see mine burn at both ends. My friend, no one will ever love you the way I do.
Wow,
guys.
so amazing. Thank you so much. Open up your mics and give some love out to Dr. Faizan. Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
Dr. Faison.
Faizan. Okay, sorry.
Faizan.
You guys have to correct me. You guys just let
Wow.
me say whatever I want.
That was really good
Yeah.
work. There's a lot of good lines in there. Vulnerability off the chart. You know, you take your strengths and your weaknesses and then you write it on paper and you give it to everyone else and give them strength. So that's always one of the beautiful things we do with the community and fam here. Thank you.
Indeed. Thank you. Yeah.
It was a
Powerful
true
work.
process of turning the pain into poetry, into art. That was wonderful.
You guys are so kind. Thank you.
Always welcome. And up next is Parkillian. Am I saying that properly?
Close. That's the Spanish way. Or I tend to say Parquillian with a W in there, but
Parkillian.
either one is fine. Oh, thank you so much, everyone here tonight. I think I've mentioned here before that my partner was born with spina bifida. So my cover is called The Doctor Said Spina Bifida. This is by Anne Latham. So that's what I have, spina bifida. That's what causes the pain all down my legs and my back. It's not just in my brain. All that time off school, I need to get on track, focus and see what I can achieve. In myself believe, not listen to those who are naive. Let's not let myself become invisible, not do nothing and be miserable. They may look at me and stare, it's only a chair. To me, my legs, I will not let my life be full of regrets. I am the same, I will feel no shame. I surround myself with positivity, not let my mobility stop all the activity. It's just a disability. I will achieve all my goals. I can do any role. As good as you, yes, it's true. Bless their souls, the trolls, who don't understand about the productivity, all the activity I can achieve, even with limited mobility. I'm human, I care, I love, I give, and I forgive. Those whom doubt my worth, this was my birth, the way I entered this earth, and I will show you I'm special too. I will come through in all I do and show you who knew I always would. It's my life, and it is so good. And then my poem today is one about my partner called She Rises. Whenever she says she went for a walk during our nightly call, when we talk about how we spent the previous day, it reminds me of what that means. It means she washed and powdered her feet between each toe that feels no heat and put on socks before strapping a brace around each ankle and heel. She then would add another pair of socks to keep the braces there, then squeeze her shoes over all of these and tie the laces tight. Now slowly she rises up off the floor and carefully makes her way to the door, where stand the crutches that help her maintain her balance in open air. And thank you very much.
Yeah, Parquillian. Yeah. Everybody open your mics. Give some love to Martin Parker, aka Parquillian.
Definitely dope.
Love it.
You just got your name sung in Bowie-esque style.
Don't hear you enough.
Okay. Next up on the mic. I can't say enough good things about this poet. So I'm not even going to try. I'm going to talk about his incredible open mic called Who Naked Up in Here, Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Be there or be square. There's a real family vibe to Mr. Witz's that Mr. Witz has created with Who Naked Up in Here. And I encourage you all to check it out. He is 10 times or 11 times published poet. Mr. Witz, will you grace us with your words?
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you. Shout out to everybody in the space. I've been listening in the distance. I've been back and forth on a couple of phone calls, but I have been listening to the shares. So forgive my lack of commenting and celebration of you all, but know that I'm here rejoicing in your spirit. I don't have a cover piece, but if it's okay, I would like to do 2 pieces tonight.
Yeah, that's super okay. Do as thou wilt shall be the whole of the
Awesome.
law here at Chaos Magic.
Awesome. Thank you. And Yeah, I'll just do the pieces. That's cool. The first piece is called A Cry for the Youth. And thank you, Megas, for holding this space, man. I see they got us applauding our separation, sharing the division, honored when we see them conquered by our DMs. It's who you got, who you favor, wrapped in what makes them better than their competition. Ain't it ironic how they're tearing each other down makes us feel uplifted? Yet somehow we never truly see ourselves, blinded by their image. It's the way of life we've culturally welcomed and embedded through the minds of our children, exposed in the railing roles they've taken across the social media, sharing when we see them, mentally amused. I guess this can be viewed as a cry for the youth, a prayer they'll survive their misguided confusion. From barely preteen young boys rapping about a life they hardly know, gaslighting their own prison pipeline with every intention to blow. Maybe if they understood genocide and our surviving Jim Crow, they would try to be a better life lived than those mentioned before them. The forthcoming messages that fail to warn them and protect their innocence and lead their interests. What they know about guns, gang banging, or drugs anyway. Baby mamas training their daughters to fashion trends, mini skirts, leggings, weaves, and box braid extensions, manipulating their age, sabotaging their thinking. Ain't rocking a mic, then they're twerking out of control. Sometimes both at the same time. The thoughts we've processed into our youth, our guidance can't be in a sane mind. Got them literally dying to be famous. No morals, just goals. Today's dance lessons have become no more than manifesting the pole. Maybe their ways would change if they knew more about race segregation and blacks being slaves, the black kings and queens that came before democracy, the original people who created the trends before the world whitewashed their existence. We have lost pride due to the lack of knowledge of who we were in this world. And now, all that has fed our future is the destruction of our families, communities, and culture. The striving to be better than each other that bounds us repetitiously in competition, hatred of the success of each other, even homicidal behavior over one another in replacement of our celebrating together is who we have become. I heard a grieving parent say, in some places, they can't even lay your coffin down. They have to pick you up and drop your casket down into the ground. I pray we find the love we've lost for each other, reconnecting sometime soon. It begins with our adulting, but this is a message, a cry out for the youth. Piece 2, purpose in your pen. I know there are poets that can tell you where their ink began, how its fluid pumped the beat of their hearts ever since then. The tattoos on their sleeves that are psalms turned to verses of how something tragic nearly ended their existence. I know poets that have talked themselves from suicidal ledges. Some that talk was offered through another poet's pledges. Poetry that revitalized the vibe that had otherwise slipped away from them for some time. I've heard it from the wordsmith, saved by voices in their heads, wording them away from being the next noted deaths. But I honestly can't say I share that same experience. Puzzled in my being an earthly pieced coincidence. Was no rhythm in a wordplay that taught me vital lessons more vivid than the consequences of my own actions. The stage was the asphalt and concrete me, and clearly life offered me no lessons in acting. If it was written to humble me from being an ordinance, then sharpened in accordance it would be in my performance. Maybe Dad was going over lines when he ejaculated me out of impetuous passion for my mother. But I am not the survivor of a thought-attempted abortion. My birth didn't result in the execution of her. Even as a poem bloomed inside the womb, I wasn't at the brink of death when I found my pen. There was no quirky wordplay found in her placenta, stating that her childbearing be a fountain pen. Poetry didn't save me. My life wasn't a page rewritten after editing of my parents. I can't recall a rehearsed simile that redirected my life inside of a metaphor clearance. My pen found my hand in the form of an artist, way before I knew vocabulary could paint pictures. As I grew into myself, I found purpose with expression beyond the still actions I sketched in figures. But poetry never made a gun pointing in my face jam. In fact, when there was one, I was at a loss for words. My bars never got me out of handcuffs, a SWAT car, or kept me out of a slammer. I can't say I was suicidal, about to take my own life, and heard a verse powerful enough to save me. Not a stanza of a sonnet, spoken in a limerick, not a haiku, ballad, ode, nor phrase of a sentence. Poetry didn't save my life. Making sound decisions did. I never wanted to be remembered as the guy so real he had to die or keep a bunk serving a bid. So I graved over the thought when I wrote it. I penned hope in my quoting, praying those who came after me would hear me out. Honest and truthfully, I only became a poet to give you all something to think about. You don't have to be in a fight to survive or ready to die before you find purpose in your pen. Be a living example. Don't look to be near your end before your right begins. Thank you.
Mr. Witz. Oh my God.
Mr.
Yeah,
Witz,
everybody give it up for Mr. Witz. Open your mics. Give some love.
Witz.
That's one.
Beautiful.
That's over the top. One of your greatest works. That's unbelievable. That's an unbelievable work of art. And every time I know you, and every time you try to encourage me, you do that. And now you have that poem to do it for everyone. And I hear you every time. And it's not easy to hear the love you give sometimes because it's that hard and true. But I appreciate it, and now I appreciate it more. That's amazing. That's amazing work. It's that whole vulnerability factor, man. And beyond the ego, you're a beautiful man. You're a beautiful man. I love you, man.
I love you too,
Indeed,
CC. Thank you for that, brother.
let's one more time emphasize what a great open mic he runs on Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Who Naked Up in Here? It's a fam jam. It is something special. I urge you all to come. Thank you very much, Mr. Witz.
Thank you,
Alma,
Megas. I love you too, brother.
love you, brother.
It was, as Cora mentioned in the comments, such a journey and so beautiful to hear, to listen to. Thank you so much for that. Up next is Hill Hoover.
Thank you, Alma.
Hi, I didn't know how this works, so I picked a random poem to cover that is a sweet poem that is not like the other thing I will read of mine. It's called from a book called Sugar Fix by Corey Wells. I confess I've never been completely satisfied in my kitchen. Although I love its butterscotch walls and copper spoons, its pressed glass jars of sugar, the ragged sound of their rusting screw-top lids. The room is too small. I've tried on the words cozy, intimate, found the fit revelatory. How padded my ribs have become. Bread and butter, cake and frosting, I confess these excesses. But if asked, I have some shame. I confess to affairs of the heart, loving first one room, then another, for the light, for the sloping honey-colored floors. I confess to an eye that roams, an addiction for odd dishes and glass rabbits, for sweetened coffee and books, of course books, and anyone who reads. It's true, you still bring me chocolate, but don't you miss our desire, rattling the saucers on their shelves? I've cried for such want, tears like Caro syrup. White its distance, a mountain, a blinding buzz of bees. I've become a woman who adds sugar to beans. I've crashed parties for the cake's biggest buttercream rose. I've taken it all at once in my mouth. And that's my cover. And that's by Corey Wells again. And this is a new poem that I just wrote today, that no one's heard before, not even Brian, who I think is the only person who hears me sort of occasionally. Once in a while, a kindly soul will whisper in my ear that I'm too sweet, have given away too much, or been naively innocent in the face of some threat. And for a moment, I consider giving them everything, pouring out every moment I have spent drenched in my own or someone else's blood, every cold night on the street or long hour locked in some cold space, waiting for a release that will come with conditions no sane soul would accept. Or rather, being seen as nothing but body, a thing with no soul, made only for use. Explaining about how there's a girl who still calls me to ask where bodies are buried, as if I'll know, as if my mind that has lost my own address will remember some crime from decades ago that I have no wish to know about, had nothing to do with beyond being a victim of some man who finally got what was coming to him. Except that the moment I open my mouth, it's full of ghosts. Taste of the ectoplasm of the children who didn't survive, the bodies no one is looking for, or the ones that were chucked into earth and called suicides or overdoses when we all know who handled them, whatever implement was used in their early exit from this broken world. I have no rage left, only the exhaustion of too many years of illness and poverty, too many years of forgetting the legal names of old friends on purpose so I can't look up the obituaries to torture myself with. Can pretend they're out there living their plans for the future somewhere, but I'm too sweet, naive, gullible, too quick to hand my last dollar to a stranger in the street, despite my own lack, too quick to walk in the dark night with someone otherwise alone, when my company might save a life just as readily as their cruelty might take mine. My anger has never once fed anyone, so I laugh past the ashes. Tell them if they're worried, they can send me a few dollars to pay for my medicines. That will save my life far more readily than their judgment. That's it for me. Thank you.
I just wanted to take a minute to also welcome Hill to Chaos Magic. I believe it's your first time here, right?
Yeah, I just kind of saw
Welcome.
Brian post about it and wandered in.
That was really strong
Welcome.
writing. Thank you.
Welcome to Chaos
Welcome.
Magic. Your reading's
Welcome,
terrific.
Hill.
Come on back.
Great
Really
to see you
good
after a
work.
long time, Hill.
A lot of great lines. Really good work. Right on theme with everyone going vulnerable too.
It was so intense, and I wrote in the chat, it was giving responding to Hosier. So yeah, take that, Forest Daddy, okay?
Okay, next up on the mic, Whisper Poet. Are you still on the road, Whisper?
Hi. No, I am home
You're
safe.
home.
Thank you very much for asking. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yep, no, got home safe and back to work today. So yeah, good stuff. But thank you. I was thinking about reading the poem about the man who was homeless that I interacted with, but I'm not finished with it. And I'm sure a lot of you guys have already heard the free write that I wrote when I was so upset Friday night. So I'm going to skip that and go with something else. Let's do To the Man Who Tried to Control Me. Okay. To the man who tried to control me. I told you I bought a knife. You said it was not the right type and that I should consult you before ever buying weapons again. Pardon me, weapons consultant. I didn't realize I had signed up for a consult to receive an insult. My actions are mine, which makes my results the default, and you do not get to rewrite my BIOS. My boot up script is on the grown woman tip, and if you think I need you to tell me how to roll, you're even closer to that frog pond you Darwined out of than I thought. And another thing, my Facebook photo does not make me look old. My avatar selfie is exactly the way I want it. Real, sexy, and reflective of who I am today in this world, which is to say, a woman in charge of her own shit, stepping tall, handling business, smart, funny, and bold. You think your heart has grown cold towards me? Check mine, honey bun. The space I gave you, my friend, is like an expiring stock option. It's been sold. I've moved on and we're done. I am a survivor of rape and sexual abuse. This you knew in all its detail. So for you to present on the aggressive is not how you're going to step to me and still be obsessive at keeping a place in my trusted circle. To add insult to injury, you're claiming the insult was mine, with you calling out for billboard lawyer assistance. I gave you grace because I've known for a long time that you were unable to erase the bonds of your own trauma braided and woven into you. It shows on your face. I've given you a pass on many things you've expressed, especially when you're drunk, spewing bullshit and being a pain in the ass. But I knew your heart was broken, so I gave you empathy and validated your feels. So when I was triggered by your attempt to control, when you rode roughshod over my boundaries and acted like a troll, when you flamed my position and said you were too mature for shit you felt I dished out and you couldn't endure, that's when I had to explain. And I know you're still rolling primordial, trying to evolve your brain, but here's the straight dope. And I hope you heed it. It will serve you well if you integrate it, if you're evolved enough to receive it. So check it. My emotions are valid and real. You try to control that. You always try to dry erase the other person's feels. So your aggressive drunk ass got too aggressive with your ideas and scenarios. And I was respectfully honest and told you no, that doesn't work for me because it triggers my own trauma of being assaulted and forced against my will. I gave you truth. I told you how I feel. And just like I knew you would, Cro-Magnon brain took over. You hid behind your outrage and claimed victim status by narcissistic assault. You can turn on your gas light all you want, honey. I saw you coming ages ago. Watch me cut that gas line with my inappropriate knife. Go back to the soup bowl and evolve a few more lifetimes. Then you may step back to me with an apology on your lips for being an asshat who tried to control me. I'm a Pisces baby doll. You can't control a fish. Go evolve your chakras, then step back to me with a hook that has bait. Until then, you can just sit in the corner with your hand on your dick and contemplate about the fact that you tried to control me and you failed. All right, and for a cover, I am going to grab a random book from the poetry, and of course, Shaki G. So I will read something from Shaki's amazing book, In Lieu of Flowers. Can someone please give me a page number? We'll go random with this.
7.
7. All right, let's see what is on page 7. Page 7. This is called My Brother's Burden. As kids, we talked about giving free tickets to the gun show whenever we raised our arms. But now, my brother's body is a fully stocked armory. You can hear the boom of cannons in his voice, a grand finale of fireworks in his laughter. His heart trigger happy, chest an arsenal of pride. So when he leaves the house, I'm afraid anyone will mistake his melanin for gunpowder. Any gesture seen as reaching for a gun. His eyes turn gunmetal black when scared. It is hard to conceal his pain. I have seen the way America looks at him, like a wet dream, call him fetish and prey. My brother is a moving target, a walking excuse, a closed coffin ready for wake. Wish I could paint my brother any color than chalk outline or mural, camouflage him into this world. Wish I could put a safety on his back instead of a bullseye. Remind you he is someone's father, son, uncle, brother, instead of another bastard. Because after all the things my brother can be, America will always be the gun. Hatred, the bullet that eviscerates my brother's temple, turns his favorite streets into memorial and shrine. Exchange his future, his bright future, for candlelight vigils. Maybe someday America will stay silent in its holster, will not see my brother as a weapon, say they feared for their lives. And ain't that ironic, the way I fear for mine? Shaki G.
Yeah, brilliant read. Shaki G, and this book is spectacular. I
Great
love this
book.
book.
Love that book.
They
Yeah.
actually have a great bundle. When I bought it, I think it was like $50, but it was In Lieu of Flowers, and it also had a swag, amazing hat, and she also had like a poet's workbook. Just really great bundle. Check that out for sure. You can get it from her directly or from Red or Green Books.
Cheers. Next up on the mic,
Thank you.
the beloved co-host of Chaos Magic, Alma Garcia. Alma, will you bless us with some words?
Let's go, Alma.
Thank you. Yes, I will be reading some new shit. It's a poem called Trenza, which means braid in Spanish. Here goes. De mi trenza brotó una canción, un himno, y decía así: Trenza, la selva vive en ti, de ti por ti. There's this place I go, I know, where we sing battle hymns by the Rio Chone, send them down streams that run from the mountains to the sea, to Bahia, where our naked toes are dressed in sand, a hoop of time, trenza, and as the moon lights up your pale skin to silver, my olive to a shade of ore, you are mine, I am yours, the earth still ours. In the distance, a jaguar roars a storm, la selva vive en ti, dice. De ti por ti, trenza, I braid the evening into your hair the way you did with mine, and nothing is ever left unsaid. No ground is buried in regret, cement, or any other man-made element. The night is never death, the light never an absence of it. Trenza, I am not afraid of the dark, of ghosts, of weeping women. They are my ancestry, my home, my willows, they who walk behind the rose, whom worshipped the sun, the soil, whom were the stars, whom are. I am not afraid of man, nor bear, nor foreign air or tongue. I am not alone when I walk in forests on my own, among trees, giants of wood or steel or bone. I close my eyes, and you are there, true as the wind at my back, in my hair, moon, mountain, sea, and roaring storm, the yellow choclo of the dawn. And I know when I open my eyes again, the morning doves will be cooing. Cucurucú, paloma, cucurucú, no llores. I will return to you. Trenza, porque la selva vive en mí, de mí por mí, en ti, de ti por ti. That's it. That's all I got. Thank you.
That was one of the best bilingual readings I ever heard. That was seamlessly back and
Incredible.
forth. Wow, great work.
Love bilingual readings. Love that
Wow.
work. Yeah, new shit's just spectacular.
And the way
Just
she wove,
spectacular.
yeah, the way she wove in and out of them is just usually you hear one and then the other. That was beautiful weaving there. Nice read.
Really.
Thank you, thank you. I really appreciate it. I wrote that one for my mom, and I was gonna read one of Dre's actually, but he's not here, so I'm gonna have to do it some other time. And since I'm out of material, I'm not really out of material. I have other stuff to read. But I'm gonna pass it over to Vegas to close out the night, because I was planning to read one of Dre's and he bounced.
Well, you got to introduce him. You're the introducer now.
So please welcome Vegas, our amazing host.
Thank you very much, Alma, beloved poets. So good to see those of you who remain here, the few, the hardy, who remain with us to the bitter end. And this is the bitter end. And I will be doing two pieces tonight, one an original and another a cover, as we do here so often. Donald J. Trump was convicted of 34 felony counts of fraud against the state of New York. This is called The Guy from Mar-a-Lago, dedicated to Astrud Gilberto and sung to the tune of the gal from Ipanema. Old and treasonous and fat and orange, the guy from Mar-a-Lago gets busted, and when he's busted, each MAGA head goes. When he's busted, people do the samba. They swing so cool and sway so gently that when he's busted, each MAGA head goes. Oh, but Trump watches so sadly. How can they indict him so badly? Yes, he would give his heart gladly, but he stole top secret documents madly. He does nothing straight or honestly, but he shouldn't be free. He shouldn't be free. No, he shouldn't be free. But he shouldn't be free. He shouldn't be free. No, he shouldn't be free. And this is Junior Marvin, as covered by The Clash, Police and Thieves. Police and thieves in the streets. Oh yeah, scaring the nation with their guns and ammunition. Police and thieves in the street, oh yeah, fighting the nation with their guns and ammunition. From Genesis to Revelation, the next generation will be hear me. From Genesis to Revelation, the next generation will be hear me. And all the crowd comes in day by day. No one stop it in any way. All the peacemaker turn war officer. Hear what I say. Police and thieves in the street. Oh yeah, scaring the nation with their guns and ammunition. Police and thieves in the street. Oh yeah, fighting the nation with their guns and ammunition. From Genesis to Revelation, the next generation will be hear me. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Now all the crowd come in day by day. No one stop it in any way. All the peacemaker turn war officer. Hear what I say. Hey, 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 hey. Thank you very much. Love you all. That's Police and Thieves by Junior Marvin, as done by The Clash.
Awesome.
Okay.
That was
Nice
fantastic.
cover.
Love it,
I love
Megan.
everything
Love
about
I love
that.
it when you sing.
I loved it. The first one I was dying over here and dancing. I was dying and dancing at the same time. It was so good. I love that song, by the way.
You know, you should really. There are a lot of deep tracks that a lot of people don't know about that I'm sure you could share too. That you know, I love it when you go deep.
I'm
track.
I'm endeavoring to do them all, Cece.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
nice.
and I'm part Brazilian too. I grew up with those songs, so it got me really good.
The gal from Ipanema, yeah.
Whipped cream.
Okay,
Herb Alpert.
everyone. It's been another great evening, a great edition of Chaos Magic. Thanks all to everyone who stayed for the whole event. Whisper Poet, Dr. Faison, Mr. Witz, CC Arshagra, C. Santos, Hill Hoover on her first time here, on his
Woohoo.
first time here.
Can
Martin
I share
Parker,
one thing before we
Parquillian,
close it out?
Nemo Soom. Yes, we are so delighted to have all of you with us and hope you will come back again. I will say good night.
Hold on, hold
night.
on, hold
You
on,
all.
please.
Whoa,
Wait,
whoa,
hold on.
Alma,
hold on.
what's up? What's up?
Tuesday, the Heart of the Artist is Diane Murray Ward. That is going to be an amazing interview. So if you guys,
Not to be missed. Not
yeah,
to be
not
missed.
to
I
be
will
missed.
definitely be there.
And
What
just
time
to
is
share,
it?
5 p.m. Eastern on Zoom, on this Zoom call. And just to share a bit of personal info, I got my my brain MRI results back today. I do MRIs every so often following for brain cancer, and it's still stable, and you know, my noodle's still cooking. So y'all are stuck with me a little bit longer.
All right.
Yeah.
Stick with us. And Sunday is the Human Room Open Voice. If anyone's interested in my hybrid concept of the only URL on the internet owned by people. It's real. 3 years in the making. Let me know. Arshagra@gmail. Shoot me a link and I'll shoot you how to get an invite.
Cheers. Alma, did you have something to say?
Oh no, I was saying good night. Good night, everyone. Thank
Okay,
you.
good night, everyone. Love you
Good night,
all.
everyone.
Bye.
Good
Good
night.
night, everyone.
Good night,
Thank
Mary
you.
Ellen.
Good night.